days ago. The Rockies now they've had 25 home games.
Yes.
25 or 26. I think it's 25. More than half of those, the crowds have been in the 20s or smaller. Do you think the people are actually creating their own boycott?
It's a great question. I believe that
Thank
the
you.
last couple of years, people have gotten more and more disgusted with not only the product they're putting on the field, but also the way the owner goes about insulting his paying customers. And because the product has been so bad, it has given them an excuse not to show up. And even some of those reported crowds of 23, 24,
Yeah.
25,000, they're actually, and I know this because I've been at most of the games, those crowds are actually 8,000, 12,000, 15,000. So they're not just losing money in ticket sales, they're losing money in parking, they're losing money in merchandise, they're losing money at concession stands. They're probably not making as much money in the party deck as they did last year as well. So I think it should be, if this is not an eye-opener for Dick Monfort and his minions, I don't know what ever can be. Because we've always felt, Woody, that the one thing that will get him off the schneid, that will make him do things differently and change the culture there and make the necessary changes, is if you take money from his pocket. And fewer people in the stands takes money from his pocket on a lot of levels. Now, they might use the excuse that the weather's been bad. They might use the excuse that they haven't had very attractive teams coming in. But the fact of the matter is,
Dodgers and
you and I
Giants.
talk to fans all the time, and we talk to them in an objective manner, unlike the way the Rockies talk to them. We hear all the time, I'm just disgusted with it. I have season tickets, I'm not using them. I was thinking about renewing my season tickets, but I'm not this year. I want to see some changes. I think this is finally the year where the fans are sitting up or standing up and saying, I'm not going to support that team and I'm not going to support that ownership group because I don't like the way they handle their business.
Yeah, I said 3 or 4 weeks ago to Woody's World, the old network line, I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore. And you and I will never and have never called for a boycott.
I won't, and we won't.
And it shouldn't. It's a ridiculous idea, but I think the people are just deciding on their own. And I would say this, let's say, I thought about it, and this is a question we'll have for other days, but just to tease it, are they going to be buyers or sellers this year? They've never been buyers. Ben Court was the last guy of any kind of notoriety that was a notable player that they brought in from another team at the trading deadline or near the trading deadline.
Usually they do a lot of nothing.
Yeah,
that's what usually is the case.
Or nothing. Or
because
they
Dan
do
O'Dowd used to
nothing of
wait
nothing.
for his guys to become good, and many of them didn't, or they just didn't feel the need to give up part of their farm system to bring in a player who wasn't going to really help them win anything. They weren't in the race.
As I pointed out the other day, I've done a lot of research into it, and I can tell they've sold 22,000 tickets either whole or in part, or people are sharing them. And what shocked me, and I say this, what shocked me was you have the Dodgers come to town. The Dodgers is an alluring team for fans.
It's a Hollywood. It's
and
an attractive team.
If you look the other night,
it's a World Series contender, and it's an alleged rivalry.
And
right?
half the people there were Dodgers fans. They were in their Dodgers jerseys and everything.
See the crowd last night?
Yeah.
There was nobody in the stands.
Well, the point I'm making is they couldn't even announce into the 30s. I don't believe the Dodgers have ever come to town where there weren't 3 or 4 crowds in the 30s. But this year, they're not. They're not. Clayton Kershaw, Zach Greinke, Adrian Gonzalez, who's having one incredible year. We know that Puig's not playing. He's going to play soon, but there's a lot of talent.
How about Jock Peterson?
Oh, five home runs in
5 games.
Here's what and I'm speaking out to Dick. Here's 2 things that I think are going to result of this. Dick's going to say, hey, I'm not going to spend any money. The crowds aren't supporting me. That's how I think he's going.
Excuse, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's going to respond. But here's the next step in that. People have hung on to their tickets. You know this. For years and years and years, because it was a badge of courage. It was a
Or they're
shield
hoping for 2007, a
to be
reprisal.
repeated.
Yeah.
Here's what I think is going to happen, is that if the crowds continue the way they are and the Rockies end up where we think they'll be, and Jeff Bridich, I'm not going to make fun of him being your boy today, Jeff Bridich has maintained Unlike last year when Dick Monfort said, we're going to win 90 games, Brady said, I want to play significant games in September, which means, we're not going to be any good this year. I mean, he's even admitting it. I think those season ticket sales are going to go down at an alarming rate into like the 15s, and then we got a real issue on our hands here.
Yeah.
At that point, he's either got to get out or get in. But
Well, he ain't getting out. I think we know that.
Yeah.
Because he's still making a lot of money. The TV money makes him, or I should say, helps him continue to be a very, very wealthy man.
Between the TV money and that hamburger stand that he put up in the party deck, that's Dick Monfort's little pet thing, because he wanted to bring in the best kind of beef. We know where it's coming from, don't we?
I would guess.
Greeley, bringing the smell with it, you think? How do the people let that go on for years and years? Remember when we go up there for training camp?
Yeah.
And you go, really?
Well, if the wind was blowing the wrong way, we felt it down here. We smelled it down
Still
here in
do,
Denver.
yeah.
All right, that segment sponsored by the Blake Street Tavern. 3 bars under one roof, 18,000 square feet, 60 HD TVs. Whatever you want to watch, they'll have it on. It's the Blake Street Tavern. It's located 1 block north of Coors Field, and it's been voted Denver's best sports bar 3 years in a row by Westward. Blake Street Tavern.